Do you feel like your hands might not be strong enough to play the chords you want to play on your guitar? I've got 3 hand exercisers that just might help. Hey, this is David Harsh with Guitar Success for You. I don't have huge hands. I've met guitarists who have the length of an entire digit past each of my fingers. I also don't have very strong hands, and yet I'm able to play most of the chords I want to play. Why? Because I use the hand exercisers I'm about to show you. I also play acoustic guitar almost exclusively, and if you play acoustic, you know that it takes more work to play notes and especially movable chords than on an electric, partially because of the action and partially because of the string gauge. Those chords are much more attainable to me because of the hand exercisers I use. Lastly, I don't always have my guitar with me, but I want to be consistently improving and getting stronger. Hence, the hand exercisers. Now, I don't want this to sound all sales pitchy, but if you found something that you knew could make someone else's life easier, you'd want them to know about it, right? So before we dig in, if you decide to buy one of these through our Amazon links, the price won't change, it won't cost you any additional money, and it will help us keep offering this great content to you. Sounds like a win-win to me. Please see the links in the description for more. Most importantly, your hands are your hands. If you have any sort of physical injury or limitation, you need to be your own advocate and exercise caution and restraint. I'm not a medical professional, and I don't know where you're coming from, so please approach this subject like you would any YouTube video that's dispensing advice. You need to make the call. Make sense? Okay, let's dig in. Number 1. The Gripmaster. The thing I love about this one is that it allows for individual finger strength. It has 4 spring-loaded pistons. You can even think through guitar scales as you squeeze the individual pistons. Now, it comes in multiple gauges, including light tension, medium tension, and heavy tension. I started with the medium tension years ago. I wore that out pretty quickly and moved on to the heavy tension Gripmaster, and I've gone through several of these. This one is the heavy tension, and it's almost time for me to buy another one because it's getting pretty worn. But I've had this one for several years. You can use them with both hands if you really want to. Why both hands? Well, one instrument I love to play besides the guitar is the Chapman Stick, which involves tapping with both hands. In some ways, it's like a guitar, a bass, a piano, and a drum kit all rolled into one. The left hand reaches over to the low bass notes, and the right hand reaches over to the high notes, which are sort of like guitar strings. I do also love to play the guitar in some non-conventional ways with two-hand tapping, like this. So as you can see, the strength of individual fingers is definitely needed in these settings. So with this in mind, the Gripmaster hand exerciser is super helpful. Number 2, Chinese Baoding balls. These are typically manufactured in Baoding, China, and that's where they get their name. They first came about 700 years ago. Now, I'm not taking you down a road of meditation or yin and yang. This is merely a physical exercise tool that will allow for good motion for your fingers. Years ago, I saw the late Michael Hedges in concert. He was an astoundingly gifted guitarist. If you've heard his music or been fortunate enough to see him in concert, you know what I'm talking about. At both concerts I saw of his, he put his hands through some serious paces and played some tremendously demanding guitar music. Partway through the concert, he performed the nonsense poem Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll from Through the Looking Glass, the sequel to Alice in Wonderland. At a certain point, he brought out the Baoding balls and spun them with both hands in both directions to demonstrate the eyes of flame of the Jabberwock. He also did some contortions, stood on his head, head and walked around on his hands. It was very entertaining, but upon later reflection, I realized he was being very deliberate. He was giving his hands a break from playing guitar and doing some stretches and movements to keep his tendons loose, at the same time keeping the audience totally entertained. It was brilliant. So if you get a set of these Chinese Baoding balls, you'll discover that you can spin them one way easily, but not so easily the other way. The bells inside provide some weight, but they basically act as yet another tool to allow for good finger movement and exercise for better guitar playing. Okay, I've got one more, but before I tell you about it, I entreat you to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Thanks for considering. The last hand exerciser, number 3, is the best one in my opinion. It's called the OmniGrip. Omni, per the Chambers Dictionary of Etymology, is a Latin prefix, a combining form meaning all, completely, as in omnipresent, omni-range, omnidirectional. This makes sense because this exercise tool can be moved in all directions. I love it because it's very durable, it's a great stress reliever, and it also allows for all the angles you can imagine. I'll just show you a few of the positions I use. Can you guess why this hand exerciser is so beneficial? Bar chords. I'm telling you, if you don't have a solid grasp of bar chords, this could be the ticket to getting them under your fingers. That and making sure your guitar is set up properly, right? This one is great for travel, especially if you have it out for the TSA agents to inspect before it goes into the X-ray machine. I'm not saying it looks like a grenade, but hey. So the OmniGrip has my 5-star rating, my total stamp of approval. So those are 3 hand exercisers that could benefit you: the Gripmaster, the Chinese Baoding balls, and the OmniGrip. My hope is that you might order 1, 2, or all 3 of these using the links in the description. I hope these ideas help you. Remember, these hand exercisers, especially the Gripmaster and the OmniGrip, work well when you're not in a place where you can play your guitar. Speaking of, I invite you to check out this next video with 10 tips for practicing the guitar on the go. I'll see you there.